He was a black man. Jacob was a black man. So tell me who is a black man? Christ was a black man. Judah was a black man. Joseph was a black man. So tell me who is a black man? Like the book of Acts, chapter 13, it's a fact. You know, Israelites go way back. Falling up Jerusalem, the banging in Masada. Now I know my history, whoever want to rob, we saw.
Shalom, Israel. Do you know who you are? Do you know what Israel is? Israel is a family that was created in the image of the Most High. Our family started all the way back from Adam and Eve in the garden. And then generation for generation passed, and this world got more wickeder. In that bloodline of that family was one of our patriarchs, and he was called Noah, an albino black man that led his family on what we call an ark. And on that ark, he took his wife, his 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. And with his 3 sons, also 3 wives. Now, with them, they were able to start a new world. And when we say a new world, they were able to start over a covenant, what we call with the Most High. Now, the transgressions started all over with one of the sons called Ham. Ham slept with his mother, his father's wife, Noah. As we can see in the scriptures, when it talks about Ham uncover his father nakedness. And then in the law it tells you what your father nakedness is. Japheth and Shem told their father what had happened. And for that transgression that happened, a curse was put on the child that came of that union between Ham and his mother, called Canaan. As we keep going, we understand that there was an order of Melchizedek at that time. And that started all the way back with Adam. And that order went from Noah, from Shem, until we see the father of the faith called Abraham. And he gave 1/10 of his things, we call it tithe, to Shem, which was in the order of Melchizedek. As we learn from the scriptures, the father of the faith, Abraham, just like Noah was righteous in his generations, he kept the commandments of the Most High. So he taught his sons and his family, Noah did, how to keep the Sabbath day. They had 7 clean animals and 2 of the unclean animals come in the ark, as well as every herb and plant that was made for food. And he taught them what to eat. Being a high priest, as we say, the order of Melchizedek, was to be a healer. It was to understand, as we see in Leviticus 15, if somebody had an issue, what would treat them to be clean and unclean, how to take care of the sick, what we will call in our medical days now isolations, how to keep them in isolations and how to take care of them. A high priest would know the laws of the Most High as well as spiritual things. Again, we call these doctors now doctors that take care of your mental health. But all these things were wrapped up into the order of Melchizedek. But from there, we see Abraham, and Abraham begot a son from his wife Sarah. And his name was Isaac. And then from Isaac, we see Jacob begot his son. And Jacob, he strove with the Most High. He was a twin brother of Esau, which we say the Idumeans or the Edomites came from. But Jacob, when he wrestled with the angel, got a new name, and that name came from the Creator. And we'll see all the way in the book of Isaiah. He tells us that family line, that name that he gave him all the way back, our patriarch, one of our great grandfathers. And Jacob was named Israel. And that name continued to all his 12 sons. And then we see, if you can understand that you are now Israel, if you're a black man, black woman that fit the curses of Deuteronomy 28, Leviticus 26, that Israel is a family that was created out the image of the Most High. The Most High described himself as a black man in the book of Ezekiel, in the book of Revelations. He said to look upon his face was to look at amber and sardine stone. His feet were that is burned in a furnace. And his body, down from his ankles up to his neck, was the color of amber. Hair of wool. But Israel fits that same description. And like I said, Jacob fought with an angel and got that name Israel. So if you understand that you are in that family line, if you are Israel, what are you willing to do? Now Israel, we are supposed to keep a Sabbath day. That's a day of rest. But your captors and the land that you are put in, they tell you that there is no more Sabbath day. So when sundown goes down on that Friday night, until the sun goes down on that Saturday night, most of us don't understand more black Hebrew Israelites in the land of America, the United States of America, die on drugs, taking unclean spirits of alcohol and other things that cloud your mind. Now, if you're Israel, you understand it, that means you're a family. Are you willing enough to keep your family safe? Make sure that they don't take in these poisons, these drugs, these narcotics, and actually have a day of rest with the people you love. To teach them the words that will keep them safe. A dietary law that will keep poison out their body. A spiritual awakening if you are Israel. Now, as Israel continued, we see many brothers. Moses, the kings of Israel, David, all the way until we get to Emmanuel. His name was God with us, as we see in Matthew, as well again in the book of Isaiah, that the Spirit named him Emmanuel. So the reason why people keep calling on all these different names, there's no clue why. Because the scripture said it to his mother, Joseph, his brothers and sisters, And everybody that knew him that was faithful called him Emmanuel. You wouldn't have to give him another name than that. We understand that as the scriptures went on, and he asked Peter, who do they think I am? And he said, some think you're a prophet. Some think you are Elijah. He said, but I understand you to be the Son of the living God. And there he went from Emmanuel to what we call Yeshua. In the Hebrew tongue, that means salvation. Because again, when you look at the book of Matthew, what was given to his earthly father Joseph to understand that he would be a salvation for the sins of all of Israel. So his name was Emmanuel, being God with us, but then he was going to be a salvation for all of Israel. So when we look at the disciples, the learner later turned into the apostles, we see in the book of Acts that they mistaken them to be called Nigers. Again, you can look on a African map continent where the Nigers to this day are still a black race of people that look like the Americans, what some of us people call ourselves Afro-Americans today. So with that being said, Israel is a family, and anybody could come into our family. There are marriages outside of family. There's relationships of people that, as that word says, sojourn or become a part of your family that want to be grafted in, as the word would say. So that means they will take all the laws and the customs of your family. Because when you have a family, would you have somebody come in acting a fool if you guys decided to be peaceful on one day of the week and they came in to raise hell on one day of the week? They couldn't be in the midst of your family. So that's what grafted in is. Willing to accept all the laws of the Most High. Refrain from the things of the world and become Israel. And again, you see that in Romans 11. As Paul tells you that he is a Hebrew Israelite from the tribe of Benjamin. And the Father has never cast away his people. You'll see in Luke chapter 21 that we are in the land of our captivity until he returns. When he does return to get us out of our captivity, Israel, there will be no more war in what they call the Middle East. That's what the scripture says. There'll be no more fighting. There'll be no more death. He'll turn all these weapons that's in this world into plowshares, into hooks for you to farm land the same way that was commanded for Adam in the Garden of Eden. To understand that that's not what's taking place right now, then it makes you a better understanding for when it goes to Revelation chapter 2 and chapter 3, chapter 2, 9, 3, 9. He said those are people that call themselves Jews, but they are really the synagogue of Satan. There's people that live over in Israel, in a portion of the land. They don't live in all of the land. Some of the land that the Father wouldn't let people stay on, and to this day, people still don't stay on that portion of Israel. But those that call themselves Jews in that land, they have homosexuality as rampant as we would have in San Francisco, if not even worse. They murder black people as bad as America murders black people to this day. They have sterilized Ethiopian Jews that call themselves philosophers just for the point that they're black. So when the word tells you that there's people over there that call themselves Jews but are the synagogue of Satan, they match that description. Now, the description of Israel. Again, in Luke 21, that he said we'll be in the land of our captivity until he comes back and get us. In the land of our captivity. Usually the slavery lasts for hundreds and hundreds of years, and now if you call yourself an Afro-American or a black man in this nation, we're going on about 400 years now. So, what do we see? Just on the pictures that go by, all these black people have been murdered without a weapon just in the years that go past. We have seen laws and what we call the Constitution of the United States that tells us that Israel, who we are, they consider us 3/5 of man. They have done everything in their power to keep us away from our God. Now you'll find black people, black men and women, that will conform to a cruel person over you. Leadership, as you call it, this country. And they'll turn to Christmas and they'll make sure you give every dime to a Walmart or a Target or something else. None of that has to do with living for your people. These pagan holidays and rituals have nothing to do with cancer killing your family. It has nothing to do with diabetes taking away limbs. It has nothing to do with lack of vision or food going into your children's mouths. It has nothing to do with having a roof over your head and having what we call shalom, peace in your life. See, the Bible is an everyday thing, and it was written for Israel to understand and to know. And all those diseases and processes I just named, those are the afflictions over Israel to this day. And as Deuteronomy 28, so these diseases will pursue us and overtake us until we turn back to the laws of the Most High. So if you have, as a doctor would tell you, a family history of diabetes, that means you just got a family history of sin. Because if you just look at what a raw food diet is, that means turning into only the food that the Creator's made. Now putting none of that stuff on it, diabetes will go away. You wouldn't need a pill. You wouldn't need a shot of insulin. Nothing. Diabetes will go away. Cancer, what they call HIV, immunodeficiency disease. Again, if you follow the words of the Most High, you wouldn't be deficient in those things. But again, these diseases and things are chasing down Israel because we have turned away from our God. We have turned away from our own family. Because that's what Israel is. You've turned away from your family and went to go hang out with another family, and the family that you're trying to hang out with does not love you. So that's the end of this. To understand what Israel is, that is your surname, as the prophet Isaiah told us. And that's your family name. It's not Adams. It's not Johnson. It's not Jefferson. It's not none of these slave names that our masters have passed down to us. But it's the name that the Most High has given to his family to recognize them in the earth. Keep the Sabbath day because it's a sign between you and the Creator. It's a perpetual covenant. And ask any man or woman, your pastor, reverend, or whatever title they decide to give themselves, ask them what's wrong with you keeping a day of rest. What's wrong with you studying the laws of the Most High on one day and not doing anything and loving your wife or your children, your family on that day? So with that, I say Shalom, Israel. Here goes a song. It tells us and talks about basically who you are. Love yourself because the Most High named you Israel, and you are his chosen people. Shalom.
Yeah, okay. Don't pay attention to what they say. They don't care about your life anyway. Put us in ships and brought us here to be slaves. They took our true identities away. Tell me, do you know who you are? Do you know? You have the bloodline of kings. Like Mount King shining bright like the stars. You are his bride. Let me tell you a little about your history. Since our family tree became a mystery, some people can only trace it to their great-great-great-grandparents, which only started in this place. But what about before we came to America? Before the boats and the chains was impairing us. Before Africa, when we was in our land, speaking the language as a people we can understand. See, Dad really never tell us that we Hebrew, because the blood of the Messiah in our people. They got the world thinking they still know they fake Jews. The Ashkenazis in our land, they full of hate too. Yeshua said it the best, I listen like a child. Jerusalem should be trodden down by the Gentiles. I heard it clear, and I know that it's God's will, because the prophecy he spoke had to be fulfilled. Don't pay attention to what they say. They don't care about your life anyway. Put us in ships and brought us here to be slaves. They took our true identity away. Tell me, do you know who you are? Do you know? You have the bloodline of kings. Like Mount King shining bright like the stars. You are his bride. After the siege in Jerusalem, we fled west into Africa, living with hound flesh. Some of us taken by the Romans into slavery, but we were forced to worship idol pagan deities. Some of us fell by the sword in our own land. We tried to fight back without the Father's hand. As a result, we were dispersed among all nations, given the curses in the Torah, ending our patience. While in Africa, they started to afflict us, as in the days of old, like when in Egypt. Then we were further west, they called it Negro land. The famine ran high, and it was full of sand. They couldn't understand why Judah wouldn't die out. The Kumbaya Yahushua was in my mouth. And then the Europeans came with a resolution. Bottles with guns and rum, started a revolution. Don't pay attention to what they say. They don't care about your life anyway. Put us in ships and brought us here to be slaves. They took our true identity away. Tell me, do you know who you are? Do you know? You have the bloodline of kings. Like Mount King shining bright like the stars. You are his bride. Now we on a slave ship in the Atlantic Ocean. A yoke of iron on our neck, dead bodies floating. With the beat on our way to captivity. Nothing to eat, feeling weak, they died in they sleep. Can't enjoy my brother, can't enjoy my sister, because they sold us bondmen to the highest bidder. Serving a God who me nor my fathers know. Wouldn't cross stone Jesus, need I say more? Pagan day of worship, honoring the sun. They call it Christianity, look what we become. Israel, you got the blood of a mighty king. You can accomplish things beyond your wildest dreams. And all you have to do is turn to his law. To keep his commandments is the duty of us all. Live righteous, live right, continue doing well. And praise Yah, you are his bride. Don't pay attention to what they say. They don't care about your life anyway. Put us in ships and brought us here to be slaves. They took our true identity away. Tell me, do you know who you are? Do you know? You have the bloodline of kings. Like Mount King shining bright like the stars. You are his